Okay, so here we go, stripping down the TT wiper motor. First job is to pull off the pressed arms. Any lever will do. Just get them off gently. We'll get a smaller bar. These won't be reused, so straight into recycling. This is the most difficult one. Okay. Important thing to remember is make sure the motor's in the parked position. Tends to be straight across, almost parallel with this. There you go. So your motor arm tends to be roughly parallel with the bar cross here. That's important because if you get that wrong now, you'll have a lot of difficulty later. Okay, so we pull off the bits and covers, put those somewhere safe. Now we'll see if we can just pop the spindle out from the slave end, we'll call this. There's a circlip sits in there. I have given this a little squirt earlier with releasing fluid to see if we can help. Just a little push. Sometimes turns, you need to push both sides. So what I've got is a small of those pliers. Very difficult to show it. There you go. So let's just pop that circlip out a tiny bit. Work it out. That's out. Pop it safe in the box. You'll have a washer on there. Put it safe. And then this arm should just work its way through. Okay. So what you've got there is a smaller washer on the other side. It's all a bit mucky. You'll need a good clean up before you do anything else. There should be an O-ring there, and let me try and show this better. So there should be an O-ring. There's nothing this side. There is one on the outer side. So we'll just pop that out for now as well and put that safe. Next job will be to remove the spindle on the motor. Just clamp this gently in there. It's a 13mm hex head, so we'll see if we can just squeeze that without turning the motor. No, so we'll hit it with impact gun. Okay, that's got that. That's safe. We'll just give that a gentle tap. Okay, so that's loose. Probably can't see, it's very mucky, but stamped on this arm is the figure 41.5. I'll come to that later. Okay, so we've stripped the both arms off the motor, off the motor assembly. Just going to clean this little piece off here now. Okay, that's good. Straight into the scrap. Well, the next job is to remove the ball that's here. Quite simple. Not sure if you can see it on camera. There's a little sort of raised area here. Basically, it's just flared over. If we take that little flare off, you can use a file grinder. My weapon of choice is a die grinder. So what we'll do is take it back flat if we can. Okay, yeah, 2 minutes in the die grinder. Yeah, that should do that. Just need to punch that ball out and just see the centre of it, hopefully. There you go. that's gone. I'm not sure if you can spot it on camera, but this is also numbered 57.2. I'll get into a little bit of the maths in a minute, just to explain what we're actually going to do. Okay, so what we're trying to achieve is single wiper conversion, which means the single wiper has to cover a larger part of the screen, so that the arc of the movement of that wiper has to be greater than it normally is. On the TT, this wiper, which is the near side passenger side in the UK, moves through about 92 degrees. What we're trying to achieve is something a lot greater than that, so I'm aiming for a figure of 140 degrees. And there are two ways of achieving that. One, we can lengthen the motor spindle, the motor arm, so we can make this longer. That would involve a bit of welding fabrication, so I thought we'd go for the easier option. And what we need to do is shorten the length of this arm. I'll post the figures up somewhere online so people can see the actual figures that we need to work to. I think I've said earlier that one is 57.2, and I think we need to move, I'll have to check, down to a figure of around 40 something. So we'll leave that spindle as it is, we'll just remove the ball because we need to make a new arm as well. Check the figures, and we're looking for an arc, sorry, a length from the centre of our new stud to the centre of the spindle of 44 mil. We know this one is 57.2 thanks to Valio stamping it. So we'll take a measurement off the bottom of the bolt. So we'll take, so we need to go from 57.2 to 44. So we're taking 13 and a touch mil off. We know the bolt is 6, so we'll take half of that. So we need to come down 10 mil. Try and mark it as accurately as possible. Probably better ways of doing this. Got a mark on there. I haven't got the engineer's blue. That would imply some kind of engineering, I guess. So just check. Yeah, that's marked there. What I'm going to do now is drill a nice neat 6 mil hole in the centre line, and I'll come back once I've done that. So hole is drilled, got the right position in, M6, just pop it back in to show what we're trying to achieve. So what we've got now is the motor will sit, so the arm and the motor will sit roughly there. We've shortened the length of, well, the radius of this arc here. The next thing we need to do now is make up a rod to join there to there. Now we could probably have reused the original balls, kept that one in place, put the other one back in there, welded it in, but we might have been a little bit short on the linking rod, so we'll make a new one anyway. Okay, so everything cleaned up as much as possible, greased the spindle nicely, little thrust washer probably on there, pop it in, O-ring in, flat washer, and now to try and get the circlip back in. There it goes. Okay, just check. Nice bit of free movement, I'm happy with that. Next job is to reassemble. As we were previously, I need to get some shorter bolts, I reckon. I'll just try this for now. Yeah, I need to get some washers on there as well. So we can pinch this up. And sit it in that sort of roughly in the parked position. So as you can see from that, when parked, the wiper arm is going to be mostly towards the passenger side. We can adjust the parked position, and I'll show you that on the car at some point. I've pinched up all the bolts, aligned the rose joints, so everything's nice and tight. Bolts are too long, need to be sorted. I've plugged up a battery, not direct to the motor, but I use one of these Sealy automotive test probes. Don't know how I managed without one, so just a little bit of a slow speed demo. So I have to apologise about the noise. That's the one thing with this, is it does beep all the flipping time. There you go. You can just possibly see, I'm a touch close with the rose joint here to the arm. So what I can do is just undo the rose joints, lengthen it a touch, and it'll just push it further away. I don't think there's any contact, but it's a little bit too close for comfort. And here we go. That's full speed then. I've pinched up the 10mm bolts, just tweaked the length of this rod, rose joint off, went it out 2 turns, tweaked the length just to give some clearance there. Got to be careful that the clearance is available at the back side as well, so you can just see how just clears both sides. There you go. I think that's probably the maximum arc achievable by shortening this end. To achieve more than that arc, I think the option is to extend the master arm, the motor arm. And yes, I can weld, well, I can blob bits of metal together, could have done that, but I think this is a slightly easier way to do things. So next stage will be to get some decent length bolts, nylock nuts, bolt it all up again, drop it into the car.